Hello there, you're watching Whose Time, and I'm Anne Cairns, the President of International Markets for MasterCard.
成立于1966年的万事达卡呢，是一家全球性的支付科技公司，也是目前几大主流的信用卡品牌之一，业务呢遍布全球，超过了210个国家和地区。那么，作为第一家入驻中国的国际卡组织，万事达卡进入中国的市场呢，已经有31年的时间了，跟40多家银行展开合作，总计发布了上百种创新的金融产品。那不久前呢，来北京出席活动的万事达卡国际总裁安康时就接受了我们财新时间的专访。他表示呢，中国在万事达卡的海外业务战略中呢，占据着非常重要的地位。通过与国内外的支付机构的相互合作和竞争，使中国的消费者能够享受到更好的金融服务。那么，在万事达卡工作已经有将近7年时间的安康时呢，负责管理万事达卡的国际市场业务。他拥有超过20年的零售银行、商业银行和投资银行运营经验，曾经呢就职于花旗集团、荷兰银行，还有奥迈公司，担任过高级管理职位。在加入万事达卡之后呢，他致力于推动万事达卡在北美以外地区进行业务扩张，拓展新的细分市场。其中呢，体量庞大、消费增长迅速的中国市场对他来说重要性自然是不言而喻。
As the first international bank card company come to China, already 31 years, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what's the significance of Chinese market in the global business?
Well, China's hugely important to us. I'm the head of international and I run everything outside America for MasterCard, which is in 200 countries. And China is one of the most visited countries for me in my portfolio. And that's because it's a huge country for me here in Asia, but also strategically important for me everywhere in the world. Very impactful.
Compared with another market, what's the uniqueness of the Chinese market, do you think?
Well, China, as you know, is a hugely unique geography where it has very big internet players in the same way that America does. It also has companies here of global dominance. And the Chinese reach goes into my other markets, such as the Middle East and Africa. Obviously, it reaches across Europe and North America, and plays a huge part here in Asia. So all of the cross-border flows coming out of China are very important to us.
During this year's 2 sessions, Prime Minister Li Keqiang has mentioned that we're going to gradually open the bank card cleaning service and also relax the access to the Chinese financial industry.
Yes.
What's this going to bring the opportunity to the MasterCard?
Yes, we hope that it's going to bring opportunity to us. We hope it's also going to bring opportunity to people that we could partner with in China. Obviously, we work with a lot of the Chinese banks today, and we hope to bring them, the best of our capabilities, knowledge, and technology, and obviously we do that on an international basis. I think the trends that we've seen around the world to try and fight cybersecurity, such as artificial intelligence, such as biometric authentication and so on, we would love to be able to bring more of that to the Chinese market.
Okay. So how is going on with the process of the license application of the MasterCard?
Well, we've applied for the license, and we're in a situation where I believe the authorities are now looking at different applications and trying to decide how to open up the market.
And also, I think the payment habit in China is also very special. For example, the Alipay. I'm not sure if it's going to have the competition between Alipay and on this trade with such as MasterCard, international card company.
We have partnered with Alipay internationally, and obviously we work with all of the Chinese banks as well. We think that competition is a great thing. Of course, we're going to say that. And we think that it helps the market, the people in the market, the small businesses, to be able to have a choice of people that they work with. And actually, I think that from that point of view, you as a citizen can benefit from the fact that you have the best of everything if you actually open up and have international players.
伴随着人工智能、大数据、区块链等金融科技的迅速发展，万事达卡也加大了相关技术在支付领域的研发，还有它的应用力度。那人工智能方面呢，他们推出了智能决策系统，用于提升金融机构交易核准的准确性。那么在大数据领域呢，推出了早期安全隐患检测系统，防范账户盗用的风险。而在区块链方面，他们推出了区块链 API， 并率先应用于跨界 B2B 的支付领域。而在生物识别技术上，研发指纹、虹膜、心跳识别等等身份识别技术，提升了支付平台的智能化以及它们的安全水平。那就在今年的2月份，万事达卡入选全球科技领导者100强的榜单，它在数字支付领域的技术优势得到了充分的肯定。
We know Mastercard focus much on the application of financial technologies, and already established a lab in Singapore.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the new technology in terms of AI, big data, blockchain, maybe face recognitions, what kind of innovation research have been carried on by Mastercard?
So you're quite right. We have a lab in Singapore. We actually have 8 labs around the world now. And we've been investing in blockchain. We've actually built our own blockchains that can move payments around. We've got over 30 patents in blockchain right now. We think it's an important technology for the future, especially in the B2B space. Trade finance space would be a classic area where blockchain could improve everything, because people are moving goods around the world, and there's a lot of reconciliation, so that you can see it would be effective there. We have bought artificial companies that specialize in artificial intelligence, that can actually reduce fraud for you as a citizen, as a consumer, because they can detect your, the way that you live, your patterns of living. They don't know anything about you as a person in terms of privacy, but they know how, you know, the type of things you buy, how you pay for them, and if you do something which is uncharacteristic, the artificial intelligence would say, maybe that's not the same person. Even the way that you use your telephone, it could detect that. Other things we've invested in is technology for transit. All over the world, we've got over 100 projects. We started in the UK, where we brought the London Underground up to be contactless. Now 1 million people a day just tap their cards or use their NFC on their telephones to go through the barriers, and they don't have to buy a ticket. And we know that on average 35 different currencies are used a day, which is telling us that of the 19 million people that travel into London every year, many people are just getting off the plane and not having to worry about carrying cash. And I know that for China, you know, there's a huge number of Chinese people traveling abroad now, and a lot of people coming from the rest of the world into China. So these types of transit technologies are going to be even more important in the future.
What efforts has Mastercard done for that?
Yes.
You mentioned the recognition.
Yes. Well, first of all, Mastercard has been very aware of privacy laws around the world, and so we do not hold any personal data. We don't know your name. We don't know whether you're a man or a woman. We don't know your bank account information. We don't know where you live. What we know is that 16-digit number that's on your card or it's inside your telephone. That's what we know about you. And we're very careful not to hold any of the other information about you. And the reason that we chose to do this is because we were very well aware that privacy is going to become a more and more important issue for everyone on a global basis. And particularly in Europe, the regulators are now very strongly regulating to protect the individual on a privacy basis. So that's the first thing, the data that we hold. And then we have, we're introducing more methods of authentication so that we protect you about who you are. And that's moving to biometric, of course, fingerprint, iris, selfie. And in Europe, it's required that you have 2 methods in the new regulations to protect you. So those are the kinds of things we're doing. I think I saw some statistics saying that it was of particular importance to small and medium-sized businesses, which are very open to cyber attack because it's hard for them to invest in the level of technological protection they need. And so I think it's very important that that protection is provided by the big companies. And that's, you know, now in the financially regulated world, I think there's a lot of emphasis on companies to actually provide that protection, whether it's fraud protection from things like identity theft, whether it's fraud protection on just where you're moving your money around. And we have been investing in buying companies so we can build tools for the banks to give that level of protection to you as an individual and give it to small businesses. And I think that the recent events about you know, people's data being taken have shown that that's more important now than ever before. And that's the reason that we're buying these companies and investing in AI and investing in biometrics, and the reason why we don't hold personal data.
普惠金融呢是万事达卡近年来重点发力的领域。此前呢，万事达卡已经做出承诺，到2020年呢会帮助5亿人进入金融服务体系。早在2015年，万事达卡就在非洲设立了包容性金融实验室，探索利用手机实现普惠金融的各种新型技术，为那些未能被纳入金融服务体系、经济活动受限的群体提供金融服务。在中国呢，万事达卡与中国发展研究基金会合作，推动金融素养和商业技能在中国职业院校学生间的普及。同时呢，还与中国妇女发展基金会合作，推出了专注于普惠金融与女性创业的公益基金等等。那么，对于目前中国以及全球普惠金融事业的进程，安康时又有着怎样的想法跟观察呢？
And as we know, MasterCard is also trying to do more in the inclusive finance.
Yes.
What's your evaluation for this development in the world, or especially in China?
So you know that across the world there are 2 billion people who are not included in the financial system. We made a commitment that in the space of 5 years, between 2015 and 2020, we would introduce an extra 500 million people into the financial system. We're well on track. We're over halfway there now. And that means that we've included people all across North Africa, in the Sub-Sahara Africa, South Africa, Pakistan, India, across Southeast Asia, even places like Britain and like America. There's actually in Europe something like 183 million people who are financially excluded, which is quite surprising in such developed geographies. And so what we tend to do is partner with local players on the ground, and we work with them, and we try to make sure that we reach the parts of the economy that we're trying to reach. I think here we worked with the Chinese Development Research Forum to try and work with female entrepreneurs, also trying to create transparency when we're delivering school meals to preschool children. There's lots of donors here and initiatives to do that, but transparency of tracking how the money's spent, seeing that the money goes to the right place, that's an inclusion effort as well. So there's a tremendous amount of work that we're doing.
Based on all those experience in different areas of world, such as Africa or American different situation, what's your suggestion for China in this field to develop inclusive finance?
Well, I think with China, a lot of the inclusion will be things that matter a lot to your economy, such as small to medium-sized businesses. Are those entrepreneurs getting the type of funding that they need? Are they getting the access? I know, for example, your big internet companies such as Alibaba reach out to those smaller companies, but sometimes big technology platforms actually concentrate things, and sometimes, you know, if you can buy goods from somewhere else, it can be quite difficult for people who are in villages, in remote areas, to actually sustain their businesses. So there's plus and minuses with digitization. I think really making sure that these people have funding and really making sure that they have access to the latest technology and have a choice about who they are with is very important.
在加入万事达卡之前呢，安康时曾经工作于这个奥迈企业顾问公司，主管的是欧洲金融行业服务部。在金融危机期间呢，他主导了工作团队对雷曼兄弟控股国际公司的资产进行了破产保护管理。时值金融危机爆发呢，已经有10年了。那么有着危机应对经历的安康时，对此又有着怎样的反思？那么在当前金融风险加剧、全球政治环境不稳定这样的一个大背景下，很多人都会担心下一次的金融危机会随时出现。那么安康时又是否同意这样的说法呢？
Yes, it's a long time memory. Well, but it seems to have gone very quickly. I think that first of all, after Lehman Brothers, what you actually saw around the world was what I would say a tsunami of regulations, and countries started to put in more capital protection within their own borders. But looking at Lehman was a global bank, and actually the bankruptcy laws are different in different countries around the world. So when Lehman collapsed, what you had was a patchwork quilt of regulations and bankruptcy lawyers dealing with lots of different things, which perhaps, if you think about it, lost value rather than stored value or created value. And I think that we have to think of things because of their global nature in a global way in order to act quickly enough to retain value there. I think it taught us a lot of lessons. It taught us how interconnected everything was. And I think going back to China, that, you know, you can look at yourself as a huge country, you know, massive growth in consumption here and so on, but you are so important to the world, and the world is so important to you, that, you know, that the Lehman lesson is look at the interconnectivity of everything and design regulations that work properly in a way to protect people as things change. And things change very quickly on a global basis. So if you don't create level playing fields, what happens is that trading migrates to those areas where it's easy to trade. I'm talking about interbank trading now, you know, like oil trading is a global thing. So if America has regulations that make oil trading easy, it shifts there. And so regulators have to be careful that they don't create an uncompetitive situation and lose the control of some global commodities and so forth. So it's a very tricky area, and Lehman taught us lots of lessons there.
Someone wonder next financial crisis is going to break out very soon. Do you agree?
I don't know whether it'll be very soon.
But soon.
I think that we're going to have cycles where we feel that we're in crisis and then we're in recovery and so on. And maybe those cycles become more frequent because of interconnectivity. Certainly this year is more volatile in the, you know, in the markets than it was last year. But I think there are mechanisms in place now. For example, in my board seat, I'm also the chairman of ICE Clear Europe, which is one of the biggest clearing houses in the world. And at the time that Lehman collapsed, a lot of swaps occurred between banks, peer-to-peer. But now a lot of the swap trading is inside the clearing houses. So you have margin requirements around it. You have different capital rules around it. The banks have different capital levels to hold. All of these things, you know, have changed the landscape. So while you see more volatility, you've got more protection against shocks. But you'll never be in a situation where, you know, you're safe against a financial crisis. All you can hope for is that you're more resilient the next time something happens.
So you have worked in BJ Group also. So what made you to transfer a career from the traditional energy industry to this financial field?
Well, when I was in British Gas, it was actually state-owned. I was the first woman ever to work on the offshore oil and gas rigs in Britain. I liked it a lot. I liked being outside. But then I saw, as it was privatizing, the people that were taking senior positions in the company were the finance people, not the engineers. And I was around late 20s at the time, and I thought, maybe I should get some financial qualifications. And that's when I joined Citibank. So I joined Citibank when I was around 30 in the investment bank, and they retrained me to be an investment banker. I said, moving from being an engineer to an investment banker, that's a relatively easy move, but moving from being an investment banker to an engineer, that would be tough. Well, actually, the interesting thing is that now energy is entering this field. I still remain very interested in engineering, and in MasterCard, we have been working with a company in Africa called M-Kopa that is giving Africans solar panels. And we are allowing Africans to pay using their telephones on a pay-as-you-go basis to buy the power. So you see the two industries come together. I think power, water, and the financial markets, these are the things that will link up to actually help us move forward in the world's economies.